What's up, my fishies, and welcome back. And today is, of course, Teach It Tuesday, but I've got something a little different for you. Today, we're going to go a little old school. Instead of just teaching you how to do something, we're just going to have us a little chat. And the subject, find my. Well, this doesn't have the lever on it. Today's subject is loneliness. And everybody experiences loneliness at some time or another. And it's scary. We're taught from an early age that, oh, you can't do this alone. You have to have somebody with you. And it gets ingrained into our brain that we constantly have to have somebody with us. And this is a falsehood. It's a wrong way of thinking. And today's Teach It Tuesday is teaching you why that mindset is not correct. You can basically say this is an old school coffee talk episode, if you will. And look, okay, let's lay out the facts here. A lot of times, the reason for divorce or breakups happen is because two people can't live with each other. And my personal opinion and experience in this area is you cannot live with somebody else until you can first learn to live with yourself by yourself. And I know that sounds crazy. Oh, well, I live with myself every day. Do you really? Because from the moment we move out of our parents' houses, or grandparents, whoever you live with, once you move out, what do? You get roommates. And it becomes about what they like, what they want to do. It's not all about you. And there's where the problem begins. Because from the time we're born, we are constantly surrounded by people. We never really, we like stuff that our parents like, stuff that our friends like. We never truly understand what it is that we like and what we don't like. It becomes about our surroundings. Everything around us, puts this in our brain that, oh, you should like this, you shouldn't like this. And it creates problems psychologically as well as emotionally. And I went through it myself. I moved out the May of 2000, the year I graduated, and I moved in with my buddy Red. Thought it was a great idea. I was ready to get out of the house, get out on my own, so to speak, but I didn't go out on my own. And that was a problem. I was constantly bickering. It was great at first. It always is. But at some point, it becomes problematic. And the reason it becomes problematic is because We are so ingrained in our brain to know that we need to be around people that we have no clue how to be with ourselves. You know, we don't know, our likes, our dislikes, what to do when we're alone. A lot of people will turn to the bottle, drugs, being promiscuous, you name it, as a way to cope with being alone. But we're technically not alone. We have ourselves for companionship. And I highly recommend learning how to do this because it's actually pretty free. I mean, at first, up until my, I'd say late 20s, early 30s, I always had roommates, you know, just like everybody else. Constantly, I mean, I've got my own house and I had roommates and it became problematic. You know, it's always, well, whose turn is it to cook? What do we fix? And, what does everybody want to eat? And whose turn is it to do the dishes? Whose turn is it to clean, vacuum the floors? Clean your room up, clean this up, clean that up. It's a constant battle when you live with somebody. And for me, it got downright zombie like. I after a while of being alone, and it took me, I'd say, probably 5 6 months. After my ex moved out, for me to finally understand that I can function on my own, by myself, with myself. Just me and my dogs. And, it became this traumatic process at first. It's like, oh my God, I can't do this. You know, there's nothing to do. I'm here alone. Oh my God, I got to get out of here. And I would take off and go to the bar. And that became a problem. And it took a while for me to comprehend that that was indeed a problem. And I started examining all the things that, I'd cook for what I cooked for dinner, what groceries I bought, um, how I dressed. I mean, I started analyzing every little single aspect of my life and started coming to the conclusion that, oh my God, I did all of this for everybody else. What do I want to do for me? It was constantly for somebody else instead of myself. And then I started trying new things. I went from white rice to brown rice, you know, regular cooked white rice to steamed brown rice. And I started losing weight. You know, I started getting healthier and, well, physically. Then I realized, a few years down the road, okay, wow, I think I may have anxiety and depression. And I kind of always knew I did. It's just I had ways of coping with it because everybody was around and I had to. I had to hide the crazy. And a lot of us do that. We don't want to admit that we need help and it becomes a problem. And of course, mental disorders is a whole nother video. I could delve so deep into psychosis that I'd blow your mind. But the fact of the matter is, we are taught to live this way. And we don't have to. I mean, take my Aunt Lois and my Uncle Joe. My Aunt Lois is my dad's sister. And her husband, Uncle Joe, they lived two separate houses. She had her house, he had his. And I think they were about a mile and a half apart, something like that. I mean, it was good 10, 15 minute, little more drive between houses. And it worked for them. He would be at her house for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Occasionally he'd stay the night, but most of the time he stayed at his own house. And they very rarely fought about anything. Honestly, they had a great relationship, from an outside perspective. And the more I was alone, the more I got to thinking about that. You know, my dad, he was married and divorced 4 times before he finally grasped the concept that he can't live with somebody. In a situation like that, once you figure out, how you want your house set up, you know, how you want things in life in general, then you can start looking for somebody that fits into that lifestyle. Somebody that is compatible with you. Because if you can't live with yourself by yourself, you're never going to be able to live with anybody else. Because you're your own worst enemy, your own harshest critic. So, unless you fully know what it is you like, dislike, how you like things, you're never going to be able to put up with somebody else 24/7. It's not possible. Unless you're one of those people that you thoroughly enjoy being around people. I mean, I came to the conclusion I'm really not that much of a people person. You know, I like being able to do what I want, when I want, with who I want, wherever I want. If I want to sit around the house naked as a bird, Jaybird, I can do that living alone. You can't do that when you live with somebody, especially if you got kids. You can't do that. I mean, you could, but, it could land you in a lot of hot water. But the fact of the matter is, you have to learn to live with yourself. And the only way to do that is being by yourself. See what I'm getting at, folks? It's not that hard. I mean, at first, yeah, it's absolutely scary. But you've got to figure out your likes, dislikes, you know, habits, stuff that, could annoy somebody else. But if you're by yourself, you have a lot of time to sit there and think about stuff like that. Instead of getting emotional and going, oh, I hate being alone. I hate being alone. I can't stand it. Which is a normal feeling. Use that time to examine yourself from the inside out. What type of person are you? What are your likes, your dislikes, etc. And once you get that figured out, well, you realize, hey, this ain't so bad. I can do what I want. I ain't got to answer to nobody. And that's the conclusion that I came to. I'm one of those people, I'm better off by myself 90% of the time. Do I have bouts of depression about being alone sometimes? Yeah, absolutely. And what do I do with that time? Make videos, work on projects, watch movies, go for a long drive, even go fishing. I mean, once you get yourself figured out, life gets way easier. I mean, you're just like, wow, why didn't I do this sooner? You know? And suddenly you get this rush of happiness. Like, this is cool. I can do what I want. I don't have to answer to nobody except myself. Yeah, I like that. That's all right. And once you get there, then you can start examining the qualities that you like and the qualities you don't like. That way, maybe you can find the right significant other for yourself. And crap on letting your friends hook you up. I mean, oh my God. And the online dating scene, don't even get me started. It is so bad. So bad. Because we're not ourselves online. I mean, with the exception of me, I mean, granted, off camera, I cuss like a sailor and I admit it. There's times I could make a sailor blush with shame. I could even make a Marine blush. And I know because I've done it before. But the fact of the matter is, for the most part, we're how people want us to be. I mean, for the longest time, I did the cowboy thing because that's what my dad did, you know. And I'm not totally country, but I'm not totally city either. And I had to find the happy medium. And once you can find your happy medium, you're golden, you know. Don't compromise yourself for the sake of others. You know, it's too much of a headache. It takes such a mental toll on you and can cause a lot of physical health issues as well as mental health issues. And that's good coffee. And those kind of issues, they may start out small, but they can become big enough to fill an entire room, an entire house, even a warehouse. So that's what you've got to focus on is you. Once you've done that, life gets so much better. It really does. I mean, do I still have moments of sheer panic and terror in my life? Absolutely. What am I going to do for my next video? What time am I going to shoot it? Where am I going to go? What's it going to be about? And I can drive myself into a tizzy over it. Kind of like this week. I've got, I had Halloween to deal with, the Make It Monday taking forever and a day. Finally got it done. I mean, it took a week, but I got it done. And I still found time to shoot other videos. And of course, it's Pagan New Year, so it's a new beginning. It's time to bury the past, walk away from the negativity, look to the future and the present. You know, I've got my own house. I'm making headway and getting things organized because I started doing YouTube and things are getting better. I've been happier. Even though I still have those chaotic moments, I'm still happier than I have been in quite some time. And the way I'm able to do that is because I learned to live with myself by myself. Figure out what it is I like to do, what I like to watch, what I like to eat. And I mean, I have nobody to answer to but myself in this house. And I absolutely love it. You know, Cricket, she's great. She can be a little pain every now and then, but That's any kid. And I call her my kid because she's got the attitude of a teenager. She mouths back quite a bit. You know, you tell her to do something, she huffs, rolls her eyes, throws that head, throws a little temper tantrum about it. So, you know, she's essentially my kid. And I have to figure out how to live with that kind of attitude. And it's still a work in progress. But you get what I'm saying, hopefully. You know, living by yourself, yeah, it's going to have its scary moments. You know, power goes out, storm comes through, you know, but you've got to understand, you're going to be okay. I mean, it's the simplest thing in the world. You've got to understand it's okay to be alone. It can be the most freeing thing if you let it. And that's all there is to it. You know, you've got to figure it out. You know, you need to figure out how to be with yourself by yourself. And once you've mastered that, life gets easier. And it's a tough road to begin with. I mean, life ain't easy. If it was, everybody would be happy 24/7. But they're not. Because crap happens. It happens. But learn to love yourself first before you try loving somebody else. You know, learn to live with yourself, by yourself. Once you can master that, everything else is easy. It just takes time and a lot of patience. And trust and believe, I have come to realize I'm a difficult person sometimes. You know, and I say sometimes because, you know, that's my opinion. Or as Bad Chad says, my belly button. And you've got to figure yourself out. Nobody else can do it for you. You have to do it yourself. And once you can do that, life will get better. You know, there's no sense in dwelling on the negative. Focus on the positive, move forward. You know, figure out what you like, how you like it, and go for it. Don't be scared to try new things. You know, stay away from things that you know are bad for you. You know, even people that are bad for you. And I've said it a million times to a million different people, and that's really not an exaggeration. I have. You know, give being alone a chance. You know, you may find out that you're like me. You know, you're better off by yourself because people suck. I mean, and I know that's harsh, and it is, but people can be very annoying. And of course, you know, my fishies, I love you dearly. You know I do. But your boy Doc loves being by himself. You know, it's just like if I had roommates, there's no way I could come in this room, shoot this video without interruptions. Just me and my dog here, I can do what I want, when I want, how I want. It's great. It's fan freaking tastic. Yeah, I get bored a lot, but I find ways to resolve that, and you can too. And I think we're going to wrap it up right there because, I mean, no sense in repeating it more than 3 times. And hopefully, you get some healing out of this video. You know, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, drop a comment, hit that bell notification. That way you know when I post new stuff. And I guess we'll see you on Thursday for Travel Thursdays. Until next time, much love. Rock on. Peace out, everybody. Have a blessed day.